Hey, good morning, everybody. Yes, it is 7:05 a.m. on this Sunday morning. It is August the 2nd, 2020. And I thought I'd come on here. Of course, you can see the title, of course. It is a Topics on My Mind for today, for this, like I said, August 2nd, 2020. And what topics are we going to talk about today? Well, we got six topics we're going to try to get through quickly and basically give you my thoughts on them as I rise up a little bit so I can be next to the mic a little bit better. Adjust it here. But yes, what topics are we going to talk about today? As I got some things taken care of here. Well, let's go through them, shall we? The first topic we're going to talk about, it's been going around the internet recently. It's been reported by various news sites, and that is TikTok, the very popular app slash service, to be banned in the U.S. Yes, apparently, word is going around that our president plans to ban TikTok um, from the U.S. because it's a Chinese owned um, app. So with what's been going on, I guess honestly people can't blame Trump for feeling that way. So yeah, the word is he plans to ban TikTok from the U.S. as soon as this Saturday. Now I know a lot of people that are using TikTok, including celebrities, sports athletes, probably don't like that, and we'll get into that as soon as we can. I mean, as soon as we start the topics, if you will. Now, as I link this onto Twitter. Hold on for a sec. And that's going to be an interesting topic to discuss. And I know many people probably that watch this or will watch this on YouTube live or later on post live are not too particularly thrilled about that. I mean, the fact that Trump wants to get rid of the app known as TikTok very very soon. So yeah, it's going to be really really an interesting discussion to get to talk about to start off the topics, if you will. Second topic we'll talk about. I did a quick video on this, and I said possibly in the topics on my mind live stream I would talk about it, and that is Minerva Mink. Hello Nurse, Minerva Mink and Hello Nurse, among other characters, not to be included in the upcoming Animaniacs reboot on Hulu later this year or early next year. Yeah, basically, according to the the Animaniacs or Animaniac cast podcast reports, because I guess they're close to the source. Reports are that Minerva Mink, the likes of Minerva Mink, Hello Nurse, among other characters, will not be included in the upcoming Animaniacs reboot. Now, I talked about that briefly in that a little over 5.5 minute video I did during my break. I gave some initial thoughts there as to why I don't think we have anything to worry about when it comes to that. I really don't. So we'll talk about that. The third topic, as you know, this past week and this past weekend, Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, and even before that, Major League Soccer, MLS, and even WNBA have restarted their seasons, modified, if you will. The NBA and the WNBA are in Florida right now in two different locations. MLB is working their schedule as if they normally would, traveling. The only exception right now is the Blue Jays. I don't know if they have to do a lot of away games now because of what's going on. Um, the NHL resumed this past weekend with their playoffs, so with the start of the playoffs, I believe. As I adjust the camera here, I think it's adjusted. Let me just, yeah, it's adjusted. But yeah, the NHL also resumed this past week. And what's interesting about it, and I'll talk about this, is we all know what Major League Baseball, they basically made the announcement, and pretty much everybody, I guess, every fan kind of participated, and they still can, I guess. They basically sent in a picture of themselves to be placed on a cardboard to be placed in the seating area uh, during the game, so that it looks like you have people there. So I guess if you're watching the game, you might just see yourself in the stands. But there's some other interesting things as well along with that, and again, it correlates a little bit with what's going on in the other leagues as well, and it makes you wonder if the NFL, if things don't shape up, in which they will. Apparently, they're getting close to making that happen, if you know what I mean. Um, you got to wonder if the NFL will have to do the same thing. I mean, there's been discussions of things changing, being modified for that and college in case things don't improve, but they will. God willing, they will. But yeah, so, but, but yeah, basically, we'll talk about that. Them pumping in crowd noises during in the stadiums and the arenas during the restart. We'll talk about that and how maybe a certain wrestling promotion, may have kind of encouraged that a little bit, or was taking a cue from that. Number four, we're going to talk about the comic book industry not going away anytime soon, and neither are comics. Now, if you guys are subscribers and fans of Clownfish TV, which I'm a subscriber and a follower, and I have a lot of respect for them. They're very opinionated, gives their thoughts on how things are going, because they've kind of had a foothold in the business and certain parts of the business beforehand. But basically, they have talked about recently how the comic book industry is on its last legs, how it's dying out, da da da. Well, I'm here to kind of counter argue that and kind of give my thoughts as to why that's not the case. So we'll talk about that. Then number five, John Campa talked about this. It made the rounds in the past 72, 96 hours. AMC, or at least the past week, AMC and Universal have reached a new deal, a new agreement, and this agreement could affect the future of movies. And we'll talk about how this new deal could affect the future of movies going forward. And then number six, what impact will the hashtag Rally for Sally make in the Sonic franchise? I've talked about this before. A lot of people have talked about this, but yeah, basically, the character Sally Acorn, has been getting a lot of support lately due to the fact that, well, the characters of Tangle and Whisper from the IDW comics, which people would look at as only comic book characters themselves, recently debuted in Sonic Dash and Sonic Forces Speed Battle, mostly Sonic Forces Speed Battle. I haven't seen them in Sonic Dash yet, but they're basically in the mobile Sonic games right now, and a lot of fans have taken issue with that in the past number of weeks. So we'll talk about what impact hashtag Rally for Sally could make in the seeable future. But the first one we're going to talk about, like I said, is TikTok. So let's start off. So, anyway, with that said, I should say, let's start off with our first topic, and that is TikTok. Yes, TikTok, the very popular app and service, video service, or GIF service, whatever you want to call it. Well, basically, word is going around, news outlets are reporting this, that because of what's going on with China, and basically China being at the forefront of uh, a country to take the blame for this outbreak, this pandemic that we're going through, Donald Trump, of course, our president, is not too happy with them. I'm not sure if he severed ties with the president of China, or maybe he looks at the president of China as someone that is innocent in all this. I don't know. But he's not really happy with China whatsoever at this moment because, like I said, they are kind of at the forefront of what's been going on, and basically at the forefront of this being the reason this pandemic is going all over the world. So Trump has said, you know what? We're not going to have any more things coming out of China. We're not going to have anything made from China coming into our country. Anything that comes into our country is going to be American made. He's given that whole speech. I mean, ever since this happened, and even before that, he's given the speech that, this is America, and that if we have products, and that if we want things, we want certain products and stuff, that they should be American made, not foreign made. So he's made that perfectly clear. And I guess what he wants to do is start off by doing something about TikTok because, there's been rumors, reports going around that TikTok is more than what it seems. I mean, it is a fun app, don't get me wrong. Um, it allows you to make these quick transitions like magic. It's kind of like a mini studio, mini movie studio, if you will, within the app to where you can do like a jump cut from one scene to another. Excuse me, like with me, I can do a jump cut like with me wearing this to, just do that. And then next thing you know, you see me in my work outfit, stuff like that. So, those kind of effects. It even gives you different kind of filters, like you can make it look like you're stepping into the Iron Man suit or you're talking with the head of Optimus Prime or whatever. So, long story short, TikTok allows you to do all that, but since it's Chinese made, it's founded in the country of China. Trump is like, no more. That ain't gonna have a place in our country. It's gone. And reports are he plans to ban it as soon as Saturday. And I know, and I've already read what some people have said about this. Some people have said that he doesn't have the authority to do that. He doesn't have the right to do that. That's taking away our freedom of speech. And you all have a good point on that, but you got to look at this. You got to look at it this way. As much as I hate to say it, and I think he knows it personally himself, our president is a hothead. And I say that with all due respect, but he's a hothead. Our president is a hothead, and he lets his anger and emotions get the best of him to the point that even though he means well, and I think we all know that, I think we all know he means well, he sometimes puts his foot in his mouth and he doesn't realize he's put his foot in his mouth till it's too late. Look what's going on now. He realizes that if he doesn't start applying one of these over his mouth when he goes into certain areas around the country for his rallies and inspections and whatever, without that, he's pretty much not going to make it into a second term as president. He knows that. He knows that for a fact, which is why basically, he's now wearing it because he's realizing he put his foot in his mouth when it came to saying, "Oh, this pandemic's not that bad, or this virus ain't so bad. It's going to go away." And he's realizing now that everything he said is basically him putting his foot in his mouth. So that's why he's now wearing this, so he can be like, "Look, look." It's I mean, him wearing a mask in certain areas now is his own way of saying he was wrong. He was wrong. You were right. See, now I'm wearing a mask to protect even myself. But anyway, like I said, he's the kind of president, and we've had various presidents in the past. We cannot deny that. But he's the kind of president among, like I said, various presidents of the past that basically put their foot in their mouth, and they let their anger get the best of them, and they say things they don't really mean. Now, some might say, "Oh, he's not going to really do it." Well, what I'm trying to say is, now I know. Okay, well, I'm trying to. Let me get another drink here. It's better. Now I know some people will probably say, "Oh, he's not really going to do it. He's just threatening them. He's just scaring them," and that might be true. Maybe Trump's trying to threaten, knowing that TikTok's a very profitable business for China. Maybe not as much, but very profitable. Maybe he's hoping that China will be like, "Okay, okay, 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 don't take TikTok away. We'll tell you the truth." Maybe that's what he's hoping for. Maybe he's hoping that someone in China that's close to what's been going on will come forward and say, no, you don't have to do that. Here's the truth. Maybe that's why he's saying he'll do it. Now, again, like I said earlier, TikTok has been rumored to also be known as not just a great app with all the features it has, but it's also been known in the past, I guess, as a way for China to spy on America. Basically see what we're doing, in our own personal lives. And nobody really likes that. And like I said, I looked at the comments through various articles, and basically, there are some people that are back and forth on it. Like I said, some people don't like the idea that he's going to that he wants to take TikTok away. Some people feel he doesn't have the right to do it. He doesn't have the power. Some are even saying that even if he succeeds, others are still going to be able to download it through third-party applications and everything to be able to utilize it. And then, of course, you have others that are like, look, Trump, hey, it may not be a popular decision, but Trump right now is not happy with China, and neither is everybody else because of what's going on, because they're basically looked at as, like I said, the main country at fault for what's happened. So there are people that are defending Trump's opinion by saying on decision to remove TikTok from the U.S. because of the fact that it's been used to spy on people, according to several rumors and reports, and the fact that it's China made. Now, here's what I look at: even if Trump succeeds in banning TikTok from the U.S., TikTok's still going to be around, and it's not just going to be around through third-party applications. No, what's going to happen is this: yes, this version of TikTok will go away. If Trump has any say and he really means it and he sticks to his guns, this version of TikTok's going away. It doesn't mean TikTok's gone for good, because you can't tell me that someone out there at a US based service, application service, whatever, Google, Apple, whatever, you can't tell me someone like them ain't going to pick up the slack and say, okay, Trump got rid of the Chinese version of TikTok. Guess what? We'll create our own American version of TikTok, be the same thing and everything, but it'll be much more improved. So so basically, Trump, he might be getting rid of TikTok, but he's not going to get rid of it completely because, I look at it this way: everybody has a right to their opinion on how they feel about this decision by Trump saying he's going to do it. But I think they all would agree that even if he does succeed, it doesn't mean TikTok is gone forever. It basically means that, like I said, this version of TikTok's gone, but it means we're going to get another version down the line. That's the truth. I think some person out there or some company out there is going to say, you know what, TikTok was very popular with the people. Let's bring it back, but let's do it under the American flag. Let's make this TikTok, this new version of TikTok, made in the USA. So basically, I just look at it like we're saying goodbye to the old and eventually saying hello to the new. That's what's going to happen. And as some people have gone back and forth with the others on Facebook and Twitter and all that, it's basically the fact that Trump is, one person said it best: Trump is not happy with China. He's not, because they've lied. They didn't tell us ahead of what was going on. They collab, in his opinion and others' opinion, with the World Health Organization. So basically, you can't. So they're basically saying, look, you can't blame Trump for feeling this way and wanting to do this, especially with a service like TikTok that has had issues in the past of being looked at as something for the Chinese to spy on us with. Now, here's the thing: we have a whole week. We have from when he made the announcement to the upcoming Saturday for things to change. He might come out and say, "Look, I'm not going to ban TikTok. I'm not going to do it. I've heard too much of a reaction." But he's probably going to say, "But however, I want Americans to limit their use on it." In other words, he might say, "Just go on it for maybe 10 minutes and that's it. Just limit your use to maybe 10 minutes, half hour, whatever, but that's it. Because the less you use it, the less chance China has a chance to spy on you." Or something like that. Or he may come out and make the announcement that, yeah, he's going to ban this version of TikTok, but he's been in talks with something like Microsoft or Apple or Google, and they're on the verge of creating a new TikTok made in the U.S. So that might happen. Who knows? But yeah, according to various reports from NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, Fox, depending on whether you believe them or not, Trump is planning, as of right now, things could change, but he is planning to ban the TikTok app and service, which is China based, um, here in the U.S. He's planning to basically ban it here in the U.S. Now, will he completely succeed in it? Be honest with you, no, I don't think he will, because as some people pointed out, those that use TikTok, they'll find a way around it through third-party applications. So, but again, could things change in this next week? Maybe, but the way I look at it is, even if he does succeed in doing it, TikTok's still going to come. TikTok's going to come back. It's going to make a comeback, and it's going to make a comeback in a way that is done as a TikTok service that's the U.S. It's basically going to be TikTok American style. That's what it's going to be. So yeah, apparently Trump. That's the plan that Trump wants to do. Will he follow through on it? Will it succeed? Well, we have the rest of this week to see what happens. So yeah, TikTok right now, the current version is on life support, and the plug could be pulled as soon as this Saturday. So, as I always say, it's a wait and see deal. All right, so number two. So on to our next topic, our second topic, and I know one of my current live stream viewers right now would be interested in this. But the second topic here, I've talked about this in my 5.5 minute video that I did during my only break back on, I think it was Friday, I believe. And the news, well, I think it was Thursday or Friday, one of them. But basically, the second topic here is Minerva Mink, Hello Nurse, and among other characters. Let me reread that. Minerva Mink, Hello Nurse, among other characters, not to be included in the Animaniacs reboot on Hulu. That's right. You heard me ask that question correctly, or read that question correctly here on the second topic. Minerva Mink, Hello Nurse, among other characters, not to be included in the upcoming Animaniacs reboot on Hulu? Yep. Like I said, you heard me read that correctly. And the reason I read that question here on the second topic that way is according to the Animaniac Cast podcast, the Animaniac Cast podcast, who I guess is close to the situation. The characters of Minerva Mink, Hello Nurse, and other characters similar to them, if not in the realm of controversial, will not, as of right now, that is, will not be included in the upcoming Animaniacs reboot on Hulu. Now, here's the thing. When I read this and I read some people's reaction, the reactions were kind of mixed. Some people were understanding of it because, when you look at Minerva Mink and you look at Hello Nurse, you look at two characters that in today's day and age, especially with all the SJWs and Karens out there and stuff like that, um, Minerva Mink and Hello Nurse could be looked at as the kind of characters that are degrading, disrespectful, and showcase women in an unflattering way. And in today's culture, that's a big no-no. And the last thing Warner Brothers and Hulu want to happen with this upcoming reboot of Animaniacs, a very popular property that is, even still to this day, is they don't want to have to pull the plug on it a lot sooner than they have to. Basically, they don't want to take chances. And there are some people that, read this article, heard about this article, And they were like, "Yeah, we understand. We don't like it, but we understand why you have to do it." And there are some that are not happy at all. They're like, "Well, what are you doing? Animaniacs is not Animaniacs unless you have all these characters, unless you have a Minerva Mink, unless you have a Hello Nurse, unless you have a Slappy Squirrel and a Skippy Squirrel, unless you have, um, the Good Feathers, unless you have Rita and Runt, Chicken Boo, Mr. Skeleton Head, or whatever. It's not the same. It's not the same. I mean, yes, it's great to bringing back the Warner Brothers and the Warner Sister, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, and you're bringing back Pinky and the Brain. That's fine, and making them kind of like the focal points for the segments. But there are a lot of fans that feel it's still not going to be the same if you don't have these other characters. Now, what I said during that 5.5 minute video is I don't think Minerva Mink's going to be gone for good. I think she will return. I think if the reboot is successful, that she will, along with Hello Nurse. Um, I I think honestly they will make a comeback. I really do. Um, I think there's a good chance that they will make a comeback, and it might be in the second season or even the third season. Now, here's the thing. According to the original article, Hulu and Warner Brothers had ordered 2 seasons of the Animaniacs reboot. We don't know anything about the first 2 seasons. We'll probably get a better clue of the first season in the coming months, or in the coming weeks, maybe the coming months, but we don't know anything about the second season. So the second season, we could, mind you, excuse me, we could see Minerva Mink in the second season, perhaps, along with Hello Nurse. And if not, and we get another season or two, then I could see Minerva and Hello Nurse, along with some other characters, showing up in those upcoming seasons. Now, do I think it's disappointing that they'll take these characters out? Yeah, I think it is. Because, like I said originally, when I first talked about this reboot, when it was first announced, I said you had so much potential. You had potential to do things with these characters you never could before. You had the potential to showcase them as you couldn't before. But that's not good. But right now, that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Um, but as I said, I believe that if the reboot is successful and becomes a huge hit, that we're going to get these characters back. Somebody brought up the fact that when they did Wabbit, the Bugs Bunny show on Boomerang and Cartoon Network, they only incorporated a few characters. Yosemite Sam, Wile E. Coyote, and I think Elmer. I'm not really sure. But as time went on and they went into another season, that's when they started to into future seasons, I should say. I think it was a second, third season, something like that. That's when they started to incorporate the rest of the Looney Tunes cast and reformatted Rabbit into the new Looney Tunes show. And they got as far as to actually include Lola Bunny. They included Lola Bunny in this, and Lola, um, as I mentioned in another topics video I did about a month ago or so, Lola is a hybrid. This version of Lola that was in the new Looney Tunes show was a hybrid of her Looney Tunes show version and her Space Jam version. So she was kind of a hybrid of both, and she was voiced by Kath Sushi, the original voice of Lola in Space Jam, also the voice of Sally Acorn in Sonic the Hedgehog. But anyway, Kath Sushi, in my opinion, did a great job with this new hybrid version of Lola in the new Looney Tunes show. And that's just an example of what this one person said of what could happen with Animaniacs. That if it's successful in the first season or two, that we could see potentially some of the original characters coming back, and perhaps we will see Minerva Mink and Hello Nurse, but maybe modified to be more acceptable, in a sense. So we could see that happen. We could see that happen. I mean, if there's anything that's been proven to me over the past 5, 10 years, it's the fact that if something is successful on television, if a show is successful on television, it'll get more seasons. The studio, the network, the channel, whatever you want to call them, they will they will demand more seasons. They will want to renew for another season or two because of the popularity. I mean, if you again, if it like I said, if there's anything that's been proven to me in these past 5 to 10 years, that is a show, if popular with fan base, will be renewed for numerous seasons. A good example, heck, you look behind me, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. That show originally was supposed to only go for about 3.5 seasons or 3 seasons period, but its popularity soared to heights no one's ever seen, and it ended up getting near a damn decade's worth of seasons on television. The 10th season, of course, is in comic book form, but you kind of get what I'm saying. You had a near decade's worth of seasons on television, and guess what? Throughout a lot of those seasons that the show progressed in, it was allowed to kind of let loose just a little bit more. Every season, they were able to untie a certain rule or restriction they had. They were able to go more in depth with some of the lessons and morals, and even go in areas that normally you wouldn't see an animated series go in, like the LGBTQ areas, if you know what I mean. So when it comes to something like Animaniacs, if the reboot proves to be a success, then I could see them bringing back all these other characters that are not going to be there at the beginning, along with Minerva and Hello Nurse. And I could see Minerva and Hello Nurse at first being a little modified, to kind of fit into the new aspect of the show. But I could also see them kind of maybe coming back that way, but also using that as a bit of a parody to say, yeah, this is what, they want us to be, but this is what we really are. And you can have them get a little bit more um, edgy or risky if they wanted to. So I could see Minerva Mink and Hello Nurse along with other characters coming back in a potential third and fourth season if this reboot is successful. I could also see a character very similar to Minerva Mink being, debuting in the show, where she is a modified version of Minerva, and she does kind of have the similar wacky traits of Minerva. So I could see that too. Maybe even more wacky. Who knows? Um, but yeah, as of right now, apparently, according to the Animaniac cast, Minerva is not going to be in the reboot along with Hello Nurse. Her and Hello Nurse are pretty much going to be on the outside looking in, along with some other characters. But I do believe they will be back. I really do. If the show is successful enough, I can almost guarantee that in the third and fourth season they will come back modified to fit in with what's going on, and maybe even use that potentially in another season to poke fun of the whole restrictions thing that they have to go through. So So yeah, I could see them coming back, and again, I also see them probably introducing a character that's similar to Minerva, that shares in her wacky traits that she has, if not even more so. So yeah, as of right now, though, unfortunately, Minerva, Hello Nurse, among other characters, are not going to be included in the upcoming Animaniacs reboot on Hulu for the time being. But that could all change because, look, we don't know what the first season's going to be like, and we sure as heck don't know what the second season's going to be like. So we could still be in store for a lot more. And like one person told me, if the Wabbit show is any example of how popular something could be to warrant new seasons and evolve in those new seasons, that that's the proof right there. Because like I said, Rabbit was originally intended just to be a Bugs Bunny thing, with just certain characters in there along with new characters. And then all of a sudden, the new season comes around, and then boom, here comes all the characters back, along with Lola. Excuse me. So, that's pretty much a good example on the Warner Brothers side of things of one of those shows that if one of those shows is a hit, there's a potential that it could get more seasons and more characters could be included, old and new. So anyway, let's get on to our third topic here. And our third topic has to deal with something been happening over the past week, if not the past month or so. And that is the MLB, NBA, NHL, MLS, WNBA, among others, pumping in crowd noise throughout the stadiums and arenas? Okay, so you're probably wondering what I mean by that. Well, if there's one thing that recently, if not previously, wrestling promotions like WWE and AEW have been criticized for, is, well, not having much of a crowd, and even with a limited crowd, pumping in crowd noise. Yeah, they've been they've been called out by a lot of people for pumping in crowd noise with even though they have no crowd, no real crowd, and the only crowd they have is very, very limited. So yeah, they've been called out about that. Well, guess who decided to join the bandwagon, jump on the bandwagon? Well, what I'm trying to say is, guess who decided to jump on that same bandwagon of pumping in crowd noise in virtually an empty stadium? That's right, all the pro sports. All the pro sports decided to jump in and decide and make the decision that along with the cardboard cutouts when it comes to the Major League Baseball games, along with those, and along with which all made is kind of innovative, along with the fans being seen on these little mini screens in in the lakefront Walt Disney area or the Walt Disney Worldwide Sports Arena, you have this screen with various shots of fans appearing on there watching the game, and I guess it just switches out from one fan to another. Uh, Along with that and other things, if not an empty arena period, apparently all these sports leagues that have restarted in the past week, if not month, have decided to pump in crowd noise to make it feel more alive, to make it feel more legitimate. And it's one thing to get on people about to get on these sports promotions for um, for even deciding to restart their seasons in any kind of capacity. It's one thing to get on the Major League Baseball for not just restarting the season, but basically filling up the stands with cardboard cutouts of fans who can't even be there but have to basically watch from home and basically just watch because they want to see themselves. It's one thing to get on them for doing that, but now you have people getting on them, getting on the NBA, getting on the NHL, possibly the MLS and the WNBA, for basically pumping in crowd noise when they don't need to, apparently, or when it's not necessary. But here's the thing. Here's what some people have to understand about that. Even though it doesn't feel like it should, even though pumping in the crowd noise feels unnecessary, you got to remember that a lot of people that originally purchased tickets to be at these venues for these games are watching them from home. And because they're watching it from home, they're usually, and because well, what I'm trying to say is because these people originally were supposed to be at these events and, and experience the crowd noise and the jubilation of the crowd, like I said, they have to sit at home. So what are these leagues doing? These leagues are saying, okay, look, you guys can't be here. Here's what we'll do. We'll pump in the crowd noise. We'll make it loud and vibrant so that if you're watching at home, especially if you have a theater system or whatever, you'll feel like you're here. Excuse me. You'll feel like you're here at the game. So yeah, It may seem ridiculous, but but to me it makes sense. It makes the game feel more alive. It makes it feel more like, you know, it is in front of an actual crowd, even though that crowd is just made up of cardboard cutouts when it comes to baseball. Or it's just in front of people that are watching at home on a live stream, and you can see their various faces on a screen or stuff like that. I can understand the frustration. Like I said, I can understand how people might feel it seems ridiculous. It seems stupid to do that. But guess what? If it's going to help make the experience feel more legit and not so hollow, that because that's the one thing you got to look at. One thing a lot of people were always afraid about when it came to the restart of these seasons was, how hollow it may feel for the players, no matter what stadium or venue they're in, how hollow it's going to feel, how empty it's going to feel, how lifeless it's going to feel when they're stepping onto that diamond or onto that ice rink or onto that court, to resume onto that field to resume the seasons or finish them off. A lot of people had that feeling or had that thought of, how empty it will feel, how meaningless, lifeless it's going to be. Well, guess what these leagues are doing? These leagues are saying, you know what, we're not going to make this lifeless. We're not going to make this pathetic. We're not going to make this raw. We're not going to make this, you know, hollow. We're not going to make it seem dim and grim. You know what we're going to do? We're going to liven it up. We're going to pump things up. And that's what they did. They pumped things up. They made it feel more alive. I mean, I get it's weird to sit there and watch for me, I didn't see it last night because I don't know if they played, but for me, yeah, it's kind of weird to probably watch a San Jose Sharks game, from an empty SAP center or wherever they are. I think it's in Canada. I think it's Edmonton or Toronto. But yeah, it is weird for me to watch a game like that and be like, okay, this all we're hearing is just them talking and the sticks hitting the puck and all that and da. I can understand that people will feel that that's boring, it's lifeless. But if you pump in a crowd noise, you pump in the crowd noise, you make it feel more alive. You make it feel it more legit. And that's a criticism also that goes towards wrestling and UFC. WWE and AEW have been criticized about doing it, even with the limited crowd that they have. Well, guess what? Even if they have a limited crowd, them trying to make, despite how the product may come off to you, they're trying to make it feel more alive, more vibrant. They're not trying to be like, oh, well, here's an empty arena like we've been having, or an empty PC center, or an empty whatever, and do. No, they're trying to make it feel more alive, more vibrant, more full of it. And also, when you think about it, by doing this in wrestling, UFC, MMA, and pro sports like baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, by doing this, they're getting the players ready for the eventual return of the fans. And as well as I do, fans will be returning before this year's out. No matter what the governors or other people say, they will come back. Yeah, it's going to be modified and limited for the time being, but they will be back. I mean, take a look at Korea, take a look at Japan. They already got people attending their sporting events, but they haven't modified. And the same thing will happen here. The same thing will happen here. Once that vaccine comes in, or once things start settling down a little bit, and they will, God willing, they will, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have an announcement by Major League Baseball, by the governors. You're going to have an announcement by NBA, by the NHL, MLS, that, oh, by the way, crowds can come back, but we're going to modify it. In other words, you can attend, but it's going to be modified. I mean, here's the thing. Okay, Western Conference is in Edmonton, according to Bugs. That's my friend that goes by the name of Bugs. So anyway, they're trying to get them ready. I mean, think about it. Why do you think Major League Baseball is allowing these cardboard cutouts to be in the stands instead of actual people? Look look at how they're positioning them. They're positioning them in a way to where they're spread out so that when they do get the go ahead to allow fans in, they'll have an idea of exactly where to put fans so that fans are not close to each other during the games. That's why these cardboard cutouts are where they are. So that basically they have an idea of, okay, this is where we need to put these people, even if they're wearing the mask, so that nobody gets infected. Because even if the virus or vaccine, I should say, is brought in, and it will be apparently very soon, even if the vaccine is brought in, it's still going to take time to take effect, and a lot of people are not going to want to take a chance. And there's a lot of pro sports that have yet to start, a lot of college sports that have yet to start, that are going to have to look at what's going on and say, all right, we're going to have to, for the time being, modify certain areas of our arenas and our stadiums so that people can attend but not be close to each other. That's basically going to be about it. And I know some people, just feel that these sporting leagues and these sports entertainment promotions, they should just shut down and wait till everything's in the clear. But here's the thing: everybody has said this, everybody has said something similar, I should say, and that is they could do that, but then you're just surrendering to fear. You need something to basically keep hope alive, and this does this. Having sports back in some capacity keeps hope alive. Because when those MLB players look at those cardboard cutouts of fans and see how they're positioned around the stadium in the stands, that gives them hope that very soon those will be actual fans in those seats, modified, that they'll be able to play in front of. The same reason why the crowd noise gets pumped in. So it gets people back in track, back in the mindset of this is what they're going to be dealing with when the real thing when things really get back to normal. So to shut down every sport is not a good. It's not reasonable. Modify it to kind of work around what's going on. That's feasible. I mean, there's talk about football having to if something goes wrong or astray with college and NFL football in the fall. There's talk of resuming it in the spring. Just in case. But I don't think we'll have to worry about that. The point is, it may seem ridiculous, but these leagues and these promotions pumping in crowd noise is to help make it feel more alive and help us have a sense of normalcy. So yeah, it may seem ridiculous that all these leagues are doing it, but I think it's a brilliant move. I think it's a great move to make them feel more normal and make us feel more normal. So yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good move. And it also, like I said, allows these men and women that participate in these leagues and these promotions to kind of get their mindset on track to being in front of a real live audience real soon. All right. So on to the next topic here. And our next topic is the comic book industry not going away anytime soon, and neither are comics. Okay, so as I mentioned when I brought this topic up, I'm a fan. I'm a subscriber to Clownfish TV. I have a lot of respect for Neon and Geeky Sparkles and their opinions. I mean, they do have experience in the business themselves of entertainment, comics, you name it. And they have been very vocal about the future of the comic book industry. They basically feel the comic book industry is on its last legs, especially during this pandemic. And I have to disagree with them. I mean, yes, the comic book industry is not as it used to be, and financially, there are some publications and some comic book stores that right now don't seem like they could be on the verge of surviving throughout this. But I don't think it means that the comic book industry is going to be out the window. It's going to be RIP. Now, I know some people will probably tell me, well, neon and geeky, they don't really mean it's done and it's dead and buried now. They're just saying that the way things are going, the future doesn't look so good unless they kind of do something to correct course. And I agree with that. I totally agree. I agree with that. I totally agree. There are parts of the comic book industry that do need to correct course. They need to shake things up. They need to make things right. I'm not disagreeing with that. Like I said, I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying though is for anybody that thinks that the comic book industry is, you know, going to go away soon, they're not. The comic book industry has gone through a lot of different pandemics throughout its history, throughout the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 30s, even as early as the 20s. They've gone through a lot of different pandemics, global, global, national and global pandemics and all that. They've gone through a lot and they have survived. Even the comic book stores have survived. Even the publishers have survived. So just because something like this is going on doesn't mean it's going to go away anytime soon. It doesn't mean that Disney's going to fold up Marvel Comics. It doesn't mean Warner Brothers is going to fold up DC Comics. It doesn't mean IDW Comics is going to go bankrupt and going to fold and be sold off to somebody else. It just means right now the future in the eyes of someone like Geeky Sparkles and Neon is uncertain unless they change up a few things and they correct course. That's about it. But they're not going to go away anytime soon. Just because Diamond Comics came out when this whole pandemic started and say, nope, we're, we're shutting down for right now because we don't want to take chances. Just because they said that doesn't mean the comic book industry is like, bury us 6 feet under. No, they're not like that. It's not like that. What it is that the comic book industry has to find ways around that. And guess what? DC Comics did it. Other publishers, other comic book companies, small or big, are doing it. Excuse me, they're finding ways to work around that. And guess what it's doing to Diamond Comics, the Diamond publication? It's making Diamond wake up and realize, oh man, we're going to lose business to these other distributors or other publications, whatever, or these other distributors. We need to get back on our butts, and that's probably what they're going to be doing, if not already. So, so no, the comic book industry is not going away anytime soon, and neither are comics. Yes, people are probably preferring more of the digital route to read comics nowadays, but they still also enjoy the physical form. I mean, heck, a lot of people pretty much in the past few days have been sharing their free comic book edition of season 10's MLP. So yeah, people still enjoy physical comics and physical graphic novels and trade paperbacks. So that's not going away anytime soon. Just because, like, let's say, a comic book publisher like IDW had to basically uh, lay off, fire, put on leave the newest president because of his background and allegations and stuff that may have come his way after the other president, Chris Rael, decided to step away or step down and pursue other interests. It doesn't mean IDW is going to go bury me 6 feet under. No, it just means they got to find a way to correct course and work around the situation. Now I know. Now here's the thing. I know some people might agree with what I'm saying, and they might look at what Neon is saying as being sour grapes because he used to work for IDW, and because of certain situations that he won't tell, and that is his personal business and personal choice, that he won't indulge us in. He just wants to see IDW burn. He wants to see the comic book industry burn because he was burned. No, that's not how I see it. I just see someone like Neon just reporting it from his own personal perspective of how he sees things may occur if things don't get corrected. But honestly, my honest opinion, and if they do watch this, I hope they do. I don't think Neon or Geeky, I don't think they want the comic industry to go away. I think they want it to strive and survive and be stronger than ever. But right now, with the way certain decisions are made, with certain publications, the delays and everything that have occurred until recently, you can't argue with them having an opinion on. Well, what I'm trying to say is you can't argue with them having an opinion from their own personal experience as how they possibly see things going if these publications don't shape up, if this industry doesn't shape up. But like I said, this comic book industry has gone through so much in the past before, other kind of pandemics and disasters and stuff like that, that it's proven that no matter what happens, it's always going to survive. It's always going to pull through. There might be some sacrifices, there might be some modifications, there might be some changes. That is true, but it doesn't mean that they're going to go completely 6 feet under, buried, dirt on top of them. You go visit the Hollywood Graveyard Cemetery, and that's a shout out to Hollywood Graveyard's YouTube channel. But you go to the Hollywood Graveyard Cemetery, you go past a tombstone, and it says comic book industry, whenever it started to 2020. No, that's not going to be the case. That's not going to be the case because, like I said, they've gone and survived through a lot more worse than what's going on, if not as worse. So, no, they're not going to go anywhere. Again, what may come out of it is some changes and modifications, and some things may have to be shelved or sold off. And I'm not talking and I'm not talking comic book companies. I'm talking maybe like licenses or comic book properties, like IDW has some original properties that they may have to sell off, or they may have to sell off certain licensed properties to other publications. Like, Archie Comics could see what's going on and say, "Hey, IDW, you having financial problems? Hey, let's take Sonic and the Turtles off your hands." They could do that. Or Marvel could see one of the original properties that IDW created and said, "You know what? That character or those characters would fit great in our MCU. Let's take them off your hands." That may be what happens, but I don't see IDW going down. I don't see Marvel going down. I don't see DC, Top Cow, Dark Horse going down, or any of them. I see modifications and changes, and that's about it. But I don't see them, along with the comic book industry, going away anytime soon. Nor do I see comic books physically themselves going away anytime soon, because this industry has gone through a lot worse, if not as worse as what we're going through right now with this pandemic in the past. And just like in the past, they've always found a way to pull through. That's about it. I mean, I know people are saying, well, what about the shops, the comic book shops? I think some of the shops are going to be okay. I really do. I think a lot of these comic book shops are going to be okay. Some of them may have to limit their hours a little bit to save money, but I think they'll be okay. Again, they have to basically right now until, as some people put it, after election day, a little after that, we're going to have to um, they're going to have to basically modify things to kind of help them survive in this during this time, and that's about it. But yeah, I don't think comic books are going away anytime soon, physically or digitally, and I don't think the industry is going away anytime soon either. So that's just my take on that. That's just my take on that. All right, so number five. Number five, John Campy recently talked about this in the past week. This made some news. AMC theaters and Universal have made a new deal, and it's a deal that could affect the future of the movies. Now, what that deal is this. Now, originally, AMC and Rego, basically NATO, the National Association of Theater Owners, they were not too thrilled with Universal's decision to put Trolls World Tour on VOD on the same day that it kind of opened in whatever theaters were left open at that time, or even drive-ins. And basically, AMC had made the vow that they were not going to show Universal movies um, at all because of that. Well, because of financial situations with AMC and other places as well, AMC decided, you know what? Maybe we were hesitant to say that. Universal actually had a great idea and strategy of how they did the VOD release of Trolls World Tour. You know what? Maybe we can work something out with them. And the deal apparently goes like this: that basically whatever Universal film is released in theaters, that after 17 days it could be released. Universal will have the right, if they choose, according to what John Campa said, and he read, Universal will have the right, if they choose, to put that movie, live action or animated, onto VOD rental version, premium VOD, for $20. That's basically what Trolls World Tour was when they did it a couple months ago. Trolls World Tour was basically premium VOD, which meant it was a rental only. So basically what that meant was Universal basically charged people the same amount of money as a ticket to go see it on the big screen to watch it at home, but you had to keep paying to watch it instead of just having it right then and there. So yeah, Universal apparently had a plan in had a plan in mind on place in case something like this happened, and I guess AMC saw the saw that, hey, this might work. Let's see what happens. And the decision and the deal basically is AMC will still show the movies, but if Universal feels like it after 17 days, they can take a movie that's still at the AMC theaters and in theaters, period, and show it on and put it on VOD, premium VOD, for $20. Basically, or make it a rental. Now, a lot of people are not too thrilled about this. John Campi has made his feelings known about it, and it's like, a lot of people are wondering what is AMC and Universal thinking. You put a movie in theaters to be seen in theaters, and usually you wait 2 to 3 months before you make the decision to put it on VOD for rental and ownership. You don't make the decision that, oh, after 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, all of a sudden you're going to put it onto premium VOD, even if it's rental version, for people to watch at home. It doesn't make sense. It takes money away. Actually, it doesn't, because according to the deal, AMC will still get a bit of the profits. They'll get 10% of any VOD purchases, premium VOD purchases of said movie. So they'll still get money put back into the box offices for that movie that gets released that gets put onto VOD 2.5 weeks later. Now, how will this affect the movies in the future? I don't think it's going to have that big of an effect. Because honestly, I don't think this deal, it's just my opinion, I don't think this deal is going to be a permanent deal. I think this deal, honestly, is going to be temporary. It's going to be something that is going to financially help both Universal and AMC get back on their feet, mostly AMC. And then once that's done, the deal will be nullified and things will go back to the way they were. So I don't think it's going to really affect the movies at all. I think mostly it's going to set the stage for how movie studios and theaters, cinemas, excuse me, will deal with a situation like this again in the future if one comes up. And that's about it. It's going to open the door. Now, here's the thing: Disney, Regal, Warner Brothers, National Association of Theater Owners, you know, Cinemark, you name it, Paramount, whatever. They may not agree with this, but deep down they're like, yeah, that's kind of a smart move right now during this time. They're looking at this deal between Universal and AMC, and even though they may come out or have representatives come out and say, "Oh no, this is a bad idea. This shouldn't be doing it," da, 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 and they may go a different route, but you can't say that deep. You can't tell me that deep down they're looking at that and they're going like, "Yeah, that's kind of a smart move on their end." So to me, I think, like I said, I think it's just a temporary situation. I don't think it's permanent. I think honestly, I see this deal lasting up until the end of the year, but I don't think it's going to be a permanent situation. I think it's going to be temporary. And then after this year's over and we go into 2021, that, AMC financially will be back on its feet. Theaters will be back on their feet, steadily back on their feet. And that's about it. And things will go from there. So I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's going to be a permanent situation as some people are fearing it's going to be. It's a temporary deal. It's a temporary. It's kind of like going back to what I said about sports earlier. There's a lot of rule changes um, that are only in existence for this season. They're only in existence for this season, and that's it. There's no other, you know, there's no other season upcoming where these rules just for this season are going to be in effect unless they choose to. It's only for this season and this season only. Like, with the National League, they now have a DH in the position of the pitcher when it comes to batting. I don't think that's a permanent thing. I think it's just temporary until we get into next season. The point is, the point I'm getting at is this AMC Universal deal, it's only temporary. I don't see it lasting forever. It's just something to help heal the wound, the financial wound that AMC is having right now. And after that wound is healed, then the deal will be null and void, and things will be back to the way they should be in some kind of capacity. But I don't see this deal being permanent. What I do see, like I said, is it basically setting the tone with how future studios and you know, cinema franchises and all that, even NATO themselves work around a situation like what we're in right now, to where if something like this comes up again, God willing it won't, that um, it'll basically they'll have some kind of plan being very identical to what AMC and Universal's deal is, ready to go in case something like this occurs again. But I don't think it will. I don't think it will. But yeah, like I said, the deal in my opinion is, yeah, it's going to change things to where it'll be basically a backup solution for a lot of cinemas and studios in the future in case something like this happens again. But the deal overall is not permanent. I don't think it's permanent. It's going to be, in my opinion, very temporary. It's going to be something to basically seal up the financial wound that AMC has right now, and that when it's healed up and things are back to normal in some capacity, as I said, um, it'll become null and void. But it will set the table and set the bar for cinema for studios and for cinemas and studios and NATO themselves, to have a backup plan of some kind in the future in case something like this happens again. But I don't think it's permanent. I don't think it's permanent. I think it's very temporary. So that's my opinion on that. So on to our sixth and final topic. And our sixth and final topic is, what impact will hashtag Rally for Sally make in the Sonic franchise? Well, apparently there was a video up. I retweeted it to myself on Twitter. I have to look at it later. But apparently there's some good news when it comes to hashtag Rally for Sally. Now, in case you guys don't know what Rally for Sally is, or hashtag Rally for Sally is, Basically, it was a hashtag created by Alex, the Hedge Fox, Nintendo dude, and a few other fans to get Sally and maybe even the Freedom Fighters the recognition they've long deserved and finally get them into the games. The reason for this is because several weeks ago, if not a month ago, basically Sega and IDW made the announcement, and IGN, I think IGN and Comic Book Resources reported this, that the characters of Tangle and Whisper, Tangle the lemur and Whisper the wolf, were going to become playable characters in the two Sonic mobile games, Sonic Dash and Sonic Forces Speed Battle. And this did not sit well with a lot of fans because, like, wait a minute. Because to them, it's like, wait a minute. Aren't these characters comic book based characters only? And now they're in the video game? That's not fair. That's not fair to characters that have been in the comics a lot longer than them previously and should have been in the games prior to them. It's not fair. So that's how hashtag Rally for Sally came to be. Now, what impact will it have? Well, if it succeeds, and it sounds like part of it is succeeding, I'm not really sure just yet. But if it does succeed in some capacity, I can see it making some kind of an impact. I could see it resulting in something that would really be in the favor of the fans. And one of those things I think it could be the result of it and the impact it could make is possibly, as I said before, um, when I did my reply video to the various Sonic the Hedgehog movie 2 videos that were done, basically the question of who sent Tails, because I think that was 3C Films that talked about that. I said the possibility is, well, it's a long shot, just like Sonic's parents are, um, as 3C Films put it. But even though it's a long shot, it's a more favorable and realistic shot than Bernadette and Jules Hedgehog, and that's Sally Acorn. Sally Acorn could be revealed as the one that sent Tails to find Sonic, and already you got people drawing pictures of Sally in a movie style of how she would look and everything, and you know if any and basically the impact hashtag Rally for Sally could make in some capacity is perhaps Sega and Paramount could be like, you know what, we're not going to put her in the games, but you know what we'll do? We'll put her in the movies. Because just because in a way it could be a nod to the fans saying, look, she was never really part of the games to begin with, but she was part of the franchise in the cartoons and in the comics. So you know what? We'll throw you a bone. We'll put her in the movies. We'll make her be the one that sent Tails, and then we'll make her an integral part in the future movies. That could be one of the impacts that Sally makes. The other impact, of course, is she could end up in the IDW comics. Her and the Freedom Fighters could make an appearance. I mean, what they're doing right now at the end, according to guys like Wolfie Reacts and Matt Mega Beatman and many others, in Evan at Tails Channel, what they're doing is they're opening the door for potential future stories to be told, and one of those could be dimension hopping for Sonic in the future. So who's to say we may not get a crossover between the IDW cast and the Archie's cast in the future in an IDW multi-part story. And the reason that happens is because it's a result of the impact hashtag Rally for Sally makes. Who knows? And of course, the other impact it could make is she actually ends up in the game. That the announcement's made that Sally Acorn will be a playable character in the mobile games of Sonic Dash or Sonic Speed Battle. Sonic Forces Speed Battle, that is. So, those are the kind of impacts she can make. The other kind of impact she can make is she could probably get a new Sonic animated series made, or maybe she can get a service like Netflix or Hulu or Amazon to pick up on Team Season's season series and broadcast it on there. Maybe they can get Netflix, like I said, get Netflix along with or Hulu or Amazon to pick that up and say, hey, you know, this is because of the hashtag Raleigh for Sally deal. Guess what? We're gonna showcase your series or your continuation of the original Saturday morning cartoon on our platform. That could happen. We don't know. Um, but yeah, all kinds of things could occur. All kinds of things can occur. Uh, but in my opinion, the, I think whatever happens, whether it's Sally being integrated into the movies, you know the Freedom Fighters, the Archie Sonic characters, Sally, Bunny, Rhoda, Antoine, Dulcie, and all of them showing up in the IDW comics, even for a crossover event or crossover multi-part story, or even her being in the games as fans want, or even maybe this resulting in season three animated series being like being showcased on things like on services like Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon. You know, I think the impact's going to be it's going to be significant. I know some people watching may say, "Oh, it's not going to be that big. It's not going to be that significant. It's not going to be that earth shattering and all that," and they might be right. But you know what? I look at these. Um, I look at the passion that the fans have for the Sonic franchise. I look at how fans are theorizing as to who could have sent Tails. What the sequel is going to be about. I like the fact that you have someone like Evan and over at the Tails channel theorizing at what the ending of the main portion or the main portion of the Zombot virus arc ending, what the cliffhanger it's got there could mean for the Sonic franchise as a whole. You have all these fans theorizing as to what could be and what could not be. You have Team Season giving us a fully animated clip that looks very true to the original series. So, so that could be. So, to me, the impact it could make, the impact hashtag Raleigh for Sally can make, will be significant. Yeah, I mean, I'll agree. It won't be earth shattering, but I think it'll be significant enough that something will come out of it. It'll be something that fans will be happy with, they'll appreciate, and they'll be thankful for. Whether, like I said, it's her in the movies, the crossover in the comics, her in the games, season 3 being picked up by Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon. Any one of those could make a huge impact. Any one of those. And not any one, like I said, any one of those could be as a result, as I'm trying to say, could be a result as to the impact that hashtag Rally for Sally could have. Not saying it won't happen. Not saying it won't happen, but it's a strong possibility. We've seen a lot of, because here's the thing, we've seen a lot of hashtag for certain things in franchises have an impact over the past several years. I mean, I look at WWE for goodness sake, and believe it or not, whether people agree with it or not, they did hashtag give divas a chance. They took that seriously and they said, you know what, let's run with it, and they did. And look where they are now. Better than they were many years ago. But you kind of get what I'm saying. I mean, heck, recently, speaking of WWE, they put a hashtag Naomi deserves better, and guess what's happening? Naomi's actually, I think, going to get a bit of a push now because of that. Point is, hashtags for things could have significant impacts. And Rally for Sally could have a huge impact, have huge significance. And like I said, the significance could be her integrated into the movies, a crossover in the IDW book for maybe a multi-part story event, her in the games, or season 3 series being picked up by Netflix or Hulu or Amazon to be broadcast. That's the kind of impact it could have. It will have, to me, a very significant one. Maybe not earth shattering, but like I said, enough of an impact that people will appreciate what they get in the future. That's what I think is going to happen. Like I said, it may not be big, but I think it'll be worth. I think honestly, I think it'll be worth everybody's trouble in the future. I really do. I mean, I don't look. I don't think. How do I put this? I don't think, like I said, the impact's going to be a big one, but it will be significant because it. Here's the thing: fans have been wanting something for Sally, something to happen with Sally for a long, long time. I mean, I go back to the Mecha Sally arc, and the Mecha Sally arc was something that ran for too long, in my opinion. It ran for so long that fans got sick of it. They physically got sick of it. Some may have enjoyed it, but others did not like it. They hated it. I didn't like it because one, you took Sally Acorn and you turned her into this when she's supposed to be smarter than that. And that's like stupid. You know what I'm saying? That was like totally stupid. And again, I understand, Ian wanted to do something dramatic. He wanted to really show that nothing was off limits. But again, what he did was he basically made Sally look like, she wasn't smart in making the decision she did. I mean, yeah, she did the right thing to sacrifice herself, for the planet, for her people. I get that. I totally understand that. But it's it just didn't fit right in my opinion. In my opinion, it just did not fit right, and others would agree. Others would agree with that, and like I said, others would agree. It did not work right in their opinion. It didn't. So, so honestly, this is just something that fans want to do. The fans feel the time is right to do because honestly, again, they look at the fact that they look at the fact that basically, you know, you have two characters that were looked at as comic book only characters originally in Tangle and Whisper, and now all of a sudden they're included in a game, if not two games, mobile games, yes. But it's like to a lot of fans, it's unfair. It's not right. So to me, a lot of fans, the a lot of fans are feeling that the only way this could be justified is if you're going to allow those characters in, you should at least allow Sally in there as well. So so yeah, you can't really blame fans for feeling that way. But getting back on to this last topic, the impact it could make is going to be significant. Will it be a game changer? Maybe. Who knows? But it will be significant. It'll be significant to the point that, like I said, she could be included in the movie. Maybe she we reveal as the one that sent Tails. We could get a crossover, a multi-part story crossover event between the IDW cast and the Archie cast. We could get her in the games if fans want, and surprisingly, Netflix or Hulu or Amazon could pick up on the team season 3 concept or animated series and say, hey, look, we'll be glad to pay you guys and we'll broadcast this onto our services for everybody to see around the world. That could happen, and that could be all because of the hashtag Rally for Sally. So that, to me, is the impact I think it could make. That's how much of an impact I think it could make on the Sonic franchise. Those kind of impacts. Either the series gets picked up by those services, the streaming services that I just mentioned, she in a game, a crossover event in the IDW comics between both the Archie and IDW cast, and maybe her being in the movies as the one being revealed that sent Tails. It, that's the kind of impact I think. That's the kind of impact and that's the kind of significance, I should say, and impact the impact hashtag Rally for Sally could make, in my opinion. That's the significance of the hashtag Rally for Sally can make, in my opinion. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But I think I think we're going to be good. I, I think I think we're going to be good. So anyway, though, with that said, though, guys, that's going to pretty much do it um, for this edition of Topics on My Mind for today, August 2nd, 2020. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. Comment if you like down below. Let me know what you all think of each topic. Thank you for joining me in the live chat. And that's really going to do it, guys. That's really going to do it for now. And I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. I am out, and I will see you later. Have a good Sunday, and I'm out.